Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining, and thank you for wanting to spend this time with me this hour. I grew up in Israel. I'm calling now from Italy, but the past couple of days were a bit worrying with family in shelters and also friends around the region being bombed. So I feel this workshop for me is very important to keep kind of the hope alive within darkness. This is where it came from. It's been developed for several years now by peace activists, Palestinians and Israelis, trying to find a way to keep the hope alive, even in the darkest and hardest and most painful situation. And with this, I'm coming to this workshop.
Nice.
Oh,
There it is.
we're asking people how's the future, and they were very, let's say, desperate. And we came up with this idea with trying to focus on how the optimism is something you can nourish, or how not optimism itself is an action. This is Rabbi Sachs, a very famous rabbi in Jewish tradition. And he says, optimism is the belief that things will get better. Hope is the belief that if we work hard enough, we can make things better. Between them lies all the difference in the world. The other one is Mahmoud Darwish. I don't know if you know him, one of the most famous Palestinian poets and fathers of Palestinian poetry. And he says also, we suffer from incurable malady, hope, we as Palestinians, that keep us living, keep us alive, and keep us in the struggle. But the hope is the main motor. So for us, we try to develop this idea of a political imagination as a capacity to envision what we can make possible together. It's not about just general words that we say about the future, but we're trying to even formulate pictures of specific futures that we can nourish, or we can direct ourselves towards it. What do you do with someone that says, I can't see a future? How we can nourish that? How we can bring this place into someone that has so much despair? Oh, yeah, we want to keep that quote. Hope locates itself in the premises that we don't know what will happen, and that in the spaciousness of uncertainty is the room to act. This was a project that was done in New York, and they were doing it 20 years ago, even a bit more. And the whole idea is kind of producing a newspaper that give good headlines to people. And by this, managing to frame positions or possibilities in the future that even seems very grim or impossible. And by this, nourishing it in people's mind. This one said the Iraq war ending.
We needed a really ambitious plan because all we ever read in the newspapers was how we needed to put everything back on track, back to how it was before it fell apart. But how it was the problem. We needed to show what real change would look like. So together with a whole lot of friends, we would blanket Manhattan with 100,000 copies of our very own newspaper. We'd call it the New York Times. Except our New York Times would be a little bit different. Ours would be set 6 months in the future. It would show what could happen if we set our imagination free.
Things have gotten pretty bad, and I think it's hard for people to imagine the world working another way. So we're trying to, as realistically as possible, present this world as it could be.
They just wrote the proof of the New York Times. It looks unfucking believable. Really good.
The obvious question, how the heck did you do it? And do you want to start? How long were you working on this thing and how many of you?
Well, there were a lot of us. It wasn't just the Yes Men. It was a large group of people. We were just one of many groups. It was an idea that sparked a lot of people's imaginations. They wanted to see this happen. And that's sort of the message of the paper as well, is that, great, we elected Obama and that's fantastic, but now the real work begins.
The idea was to put out something that was optimistic, that says we can do all these things. Why not? We created the system that we have now, so why not create a good one instead? Oh. The big day. 7 a.m. rush hour. This is the time to get the papers out there. 3 times. Special issue. Special issue. Right, right.
National Health Insurance Act passes.
The Patriot Act repealed.
Maximum wage law succeeds. Good luck with that.
It's too good to be true, but it's not impossible.
It's a dream newspaper, right? It's like you wake up and all the things that you wanted became the news.
Fake news was a hit. Would the real news pick it up?
You don't work for the New York Times. Who is it that you work for handing this out?
A guy named John Smith. Yeah, John Smith.
John Smith.
It's the New York Times special edition. Is there anything wrong with it? I mean,
Well, it's not the New York Times.
Extra, read all about it. The New York Times declares the war in Iraq is over.
Some commuters got their hands on what looks like a special edition of the New York Times. As you might have guessed, though, it's a fake.
Eine New York Times in die Hand gedrückt bekamen, trauten jedenfalls ihren Augen nicht.
We printed a paper with the headlines that we'd like to see. So if these are the headlines that people were so excited to read this morning, let's make them happen.
I think it's gonna we have to exercise the muscles we either don't have or that have atrophied, or something, a civic muscle, a thrifty muscle, a generous muscle. We've got to take back our government. March into City Hall and say, here, we've got the solution. We can think of the different.
So, as you can see, the main project was around creating new headlines. I have to say that it's, especially now with what's happening in the region, it's a bit made me feel uncomfortable also to watch it. Thinking 20 years ago of ending the war and knowing how much destruction happened since. And still I felt there is something happening in people's mind looking at it at that specific day, at that specific time. And maybe it called them into action, and maybe it called them into doing something creative on that direction. And from this point, I wanted to do something a bit similar with you, and thinking between the science fiction and design fiction, or between what we can dream of and what we can actually do. I want to invite us to do like a small activity. I'd like you to think of yourself sometimes in the future. You can think of it as a political stand. You can think of it something your personal or your life around. But think of a post or picture or something you write to yourself or something you write on a sign in some point in the future. It can be 2 years from now, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So I'd like you to try to put yourself some point in the future and write what you see. Again, it can be a post, maybe you write on social media. It can be maybe a chat that you write to your friend. Can be maybe a notification that you get. Can be maybe a review, a question, a map of somewhere, a picture that you take for yourself, or even your sign of maybe a future demonstration or a future parade that you're joining. But write it to yourself down. And afterwards, I'll open the space for people to share what they wrote if they want. And we'll write it in the chat. And I'll show you also another tool that we are using. I'll give you now 3 minutes. If you wrote one to yourself very quickly, try to do another one. Try to be even more creative. Try to put yourself in a different distance, in a different location. And if another one comes, write another one. And if another idea comes, write another one. We want to be able to train this muscle, thinking of the potential futures. Another minute. Ready to wrap up or close? Great. So is anyone open to share with us one of their pictures from the futures?
I would share one.
Yeah.
So
Please.
this is the first one. I wrote a few after that when you said go a bit deeper. But it was, I finally, completely and wholly, unapologetically love you, Vanessa.
Can you tell us some more what you meant with it?
It means that I stopped trying to outsource my validation and value and yeah, and I stopped doing that. And I've just had absolute peace with myself and no need to prove anything, no need to do anything, no need to pursue anything, but absolutely and completely, unapologetically, with no guilt at all, love myself and approve of myself.
Thank you.
So,
thank you for sharing this. Others want to share some pictures from the future?
I can share. It's very simple. It was a chat message to a direct person that says, "My love, could you bring a blanket from the common house when you are back?" But the context is just that I'm living in a future in which I don't need to have deep conversations through chats or through posts or through reviews. I can just wait for the person to come and we're going to interact in person, so no writing necessary.
Beautiful. Others want to share?
I can share something. Oh, Carlota, go for it.
Please,
Go for
Carolina,
it,
go.
go for it. I'll go after you.
Okay. I wrote a post, I think, saying it has been 1 month since people went out to the streets en masse to protest against imperial wars and how they fuel violence and the climate crisis. Every day for a full month, citizens of the world are standing up, raising their voices in joy and unified struggle to call for a different system. Citizens' assemblies are starting to sprout in different countries, and I am so happy to see one here too, in my motherland. Curious to see how it all unfolds.
Thank you.
Theodora, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I will go next. I'm not very sure if this could be classified as a notification from the future or maybe the answer of a future AI or something. I don't know. But it goes like this. The universe is gnarly, my friend. The path forward will be perilous at best. But by the end of your life, you'll realize it was all worth it. For it's better to die chasing the impossible dream than live by the shackles of a possible lie.
Beautiful. Poetic.
Yeah.
Yes. June, you're leaving us in 10 minutes. You want to share now? We saw that you wrote something. Oh, she left already?
Her internet is acting up, so she keeps going in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Others wants to share anything they wrote? Yes, please.
It's not totally written and it's not puffed up very well, but it's along the lines of Mexican, Canadian, and Arizona students unveil a project on climate.
Beautiful.
There is I don't know if you are aware, but there's an international group of universities from Canada, US, and Mexico that are sharing information around climate. And I haven't heard much, but I'd like believing that they're still. And in order to be in the coalition, they have to agree to be in really strong communication with each other, rapid sharing of information. And that's been going on now for a while. And then they also have to agree to be present in the communities, in their local communities. And that's happening, which is so exciting. And then the third thing is being in alignment with the UN. It's a beautiful concept of information sharing and community building, coalition building.
Beautiful. Another one, maybe last one before I move to the next slide. Still someone wants to share?
I can share what I had written.
Please,
I had written that all natural forests and land have been handed over to indigenous people who were the original guardians and stewards.
It's beautiful, Archana. Good to think about it. And now, before moving to the next slide, I really want you to think with yourself. about what you wrote and about what you heard. If I'll ask you if it is possible, if you'll see this time in your lifetime, notice what you feel. Are you immediately telling yourself, no, it's not going to happen? Are you telling yourself, yes, it is, but very far? You're telling yourself, yes, it is, it's happening soon. Yes, it is, it's happening tomorrow. What is this difference that come up between the complete cancellation and the possibility? I live in a country that we constantly have leaders that tell us that war is the only option. And by this, I notice how it creates this idea in people's mind. Like, we are doomed to war. Other things are naive. Other things are impossible. And this movement between what's impossible and what's possible, it's eventually political. Or it's eventually an action. I'll show you now another part of the slide. Can you see my screen?
Yes. But nothing is there yet, except for you.
Yeah, this time I wanted to show this one. You see this one?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you look at futures and you think with yourself, this is possible, this is impossible. This is preferred, or this is something I want to prevent. This is good, this is bad. Yeah. We are creating in our minds the possibility, but also the option of moving in between. And this is a cone of future foresighting. I don't know if you know, but there are different companies that are using it, or different urban planners. But the idea is trying to think with yourself if there can be options in between the impossible and the possible. There can be plausible, there can be optional, there can be, let's say, predictable. Right? This is with all of these options, we think, oh, this also doesn't work today. Yeah. So when we speak about the options, I have a bit of technical weird stuff happening here. But, oh. So these are the different options that we can think of between the possible and impossible. Something that we can project, so we can plan, or we see that it's happening. It's like a schedule. Something that is probable. There are chances to happen, but chances not, but most of the chances that it will. Plausible. Most of the chances that, let's say half-half, but not fully certain that it will. And possible is as the chances are going down, but maybe we are thinking that it won't. Preposterous is already in the place that we are telling ourselves it's not going to happen at all. But the ability for us to move between the different places is the ability for us to take actions in our life, to make something more possible, more plausible, or more predictable. Sometimes in companies, organizations, they try to put it in a specific schedule. And sometimes they just try to nourish the idea that it is possible. I'll show you another video. Do you see my screen? Yeah?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear it well?
What do you think we
Yes.
as Israelis and Palestinians can learn from the peaceful resolution of the conflict in Northern Ireland?
If we were to go back to the early 1990s, there were three conflicts grabbing world attention: the Northern Ireland conflict, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and South African. And most people looked at us, cursed Irish, and said, those Irish will never get over the line. Well, they were wrong. It's going back literally hundreds of years. We have a terrorist incident every 40 minutes.
But all conflicts come to an end. I was 10 years of age, and I remember going out, and the British Army were attacking homes and were searching homes, and young people in the area were resisting it by throwing stones. They came in and did a curfew here. They imposed martial law here, brought a policy in called internment without trial. It was a sort of invisible apartheid.
I was a boy at 15, still at school. I became an armed activist from then onwards. We already knew what we were going to do: kill people, blow them up, fight fire with fire. That didn't work. And I admit that now, it didn't work. I knew that probably back, it wasn't working probably in the 70s, but that's where it was at.
After all those years of war, we had realized everybody was losing. And that went along with the war weariness, the feeling that this war is done. Everybody just wanted out of it.
Troubles broke out when I was 14, and I signed the peace agreement when I was 44. So I didn't know anything else for 30 years except violent conflict.
Did you really think the first time we were in the room, like it was all hugs and kisses, like we were popping bottles of champagne and hugging each other? People in the room hated each other.
I don't think there was anyone at the table that hadn't been shot at or run from a bomb.
They were frightened of giving up what they regarded as their right to rule. If you don't share power, you're just going to have the same old, same old.
I actively campaigned for a yes vote. I wanted a better society than the one that we had left behind, and I knew that meant making some really hard choices, the like of the person that murdered my wife being released from prison.
Yes, 71.12%.
We want to build a shared inclusive future for everyone to move forward, because all our energy is put into fighting rather than coming up with solutions for the future.
12 years ago, I was sitting in the same room as Elham. I hated what he represented.
We had the radio on, and we were glued to the news coming through because the politicians had actually agreed a peace deal that morning. That night, we had tickets to go to a concert performance, and the conductor came out and he said, I want to dedicate the performance tonight to the Good Friday Agreement. And, you know, we wept. It was... Sorry, I'm remembering that moment.
One day we'll return when the bells past down sings again.
Thank you for sharing, Liel.
Thank you. We were developing this project in 2023, and it was supposed to be released in October 23, and because of 7th of October, it was postponed. And this trailer for the movie became something viral that people started screening in different gatherings of Israelis and Palestinians. And it brought a lot of motor, a lot of hope for the possibility. First, because there were different things that were common regarding the war being part of the culture and kids joining in to the armed resistance. But also the possibility of getting out of it. I don't know if you know about Northern Ireland. I want to explain a lot about the conflict over there, but there were a series of agreements, and one of them was in 85, 13 years before the final agreement, the Good Friday Agreement. And the main agreement was that they need to create the ecosystem necessary to support peace. And they built a big foundation that was supporting civil society and supporting community gatherings, community connections, education, interactions, in order to create the ecosystem that will support a potential future that is peaceful. And I'm saying this here because I don't know how you felt watching this film or this short trailer. There's a possibility of instigating different options in people's minds and making them more possible. The question is how we create content or create a language that allow them to think that way. I actually want to ask you, like, how was it for you to watch it? If anyone wants to share. Yes, you?
Good. Thank you. It's very touching. It's kind of like, you know, like you want to weep when he's saying that he wanted to weep. You totally understand emotionally where he is. You totally understand when they say they hated each other and then they clap each other. I didn't know about this. Then they clap, you know, we overcame this, you know. It's this proudness that these people feel that they left this behind. But still the memory of the pain that this costs to leave it behind. You can still feel this a lot, I think. I think this is what I also wanted to share. I think we are missing the experience of war. We do not know how it feels when people are trying to feed their children, or we don't know physically in our body when you try to drink contained water, or we are all missing this. We are living too much safe spaces that we totally understand what war means. And only people who went through this can really say, no, we don't want to go back there anymore. So I'm afraid that the generation now who's missing these experiences are really willing to go through this because they don't know, you know? So how do we communicate this to people? Shall we put them together and let them play war and experience it, that they then can say, oh gosh, no, I thought it's a computer game and this is not what I thought it will be, you know? Or shall we drink the water of our rivers now that we are working, that we can drink the water again, you know? Because if we would have been forced to drink the waters that are from nature, that are contaminated, then actually we would really work on this to make them drinkable again, you know? So if you would be forced and see the outcome of things, that when we are living in peace and when we are living together, that this is winning. And every conflict that we are doing violently is losing, as they said. When we would understand the good things of conflicts shared and non-violently solved, then maybe we could share this visions of future, because then we would speak from the same level of experience we have. I don't know, shall we start to send children over to experience war? I really don't know how we could do this, you know, like war tourists or things like, I don't know, it's really crazy, but sometimes I think really we are missing these experiences that you have to struggle for water, for example, or just one bread a day, or just the heater is going on in minus 30 degrees, you know. We can't relate to that because we are not experienced in this.
Thank you very much, you. I was really touched by your sharing. Where are you calling from?
I'm living in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm born in Seoul, in South Korea.
Yes, I know that your country also suffered from war. Actually, the two countries you're talking about, Korea and Germany, and got great devastation because of it. But also they signal some kind of a day after that we should keep in mind. Thank you. Others maybe want to share? But
Katrina has her hand up.
Yes, hi. I'd like to, what was coming to mind is, you know, when recovering from dysfunction, it doesn't work to push against dysfunction. Like it doesn't work to say, oh, you know, for example, a very simple example, imagine a parent is alcoholic and then say, I'm not going to be an alcoholic as a solution. You know, the example that was given was a wrong example. So pushing against it doesn't mean you don't have the addiction. You become an automatic co-addict. Even if you don't touch a drop of alcohol, you're still a co-addict / codependent. You're still in the dysfunction because the example you've been given is a wrong example. So if there hasn't been any, let's say, a healthy mirroring for a child, they will be their beginning point, their foundation is an unhealthy one. So you know you don't know what healthy looks like if you haven't been given that example. And I think it's about bathing. So I like what you just explained also, Hyo Jin Shin, you know, like about if we literally have to drink from the water from the river, if we're given this experience, this would be then experiencing it. It gives me the shivers down my spine. You know, then you're experiencing the origin of things. And that would be a proper mirroring of like what kind of water is coming out of our tap. But if we're disconnected from the source, well, then we're fragmented. Like a person would be fragmented psychologically in themselves. You know, that's why like loving myself would be the ultimate future, because I would refragment my whole self together and become whole. So also the whole thing of do they need to experience war? I mean, it's a political agenda, you know, people are served by war. They're big people. I mean, there's a lot of money going around. It's a big business, and not only spiritually business, but it's also economical business. You know, there are people that make, you know, there's a whole agenda for that. And kids, you know, the whole paradigm of there are winners and losers, that's where it goes wrong in the foundation. You know, if you're teaching kids you win and you lose, or you're a winner or you're a loser, this whole mentality is going to make it so that people are going to get stuck in a loop and be like rats going on a you know, round in circles, because you cannot find a way out. It's like a trap. You're stuck in the rat race. So that's why I said about a spaceship kind of thing, because it's not physical, but it's, you know, there needs to be a switch. There needs to be a switch of understanding, and also there needs to be proper mirroring. That's why I really liked the example of the indigenous people being given back their ways, hopefully not too tainted by all the destruction that they've been subjected to until now, but and being given the respect also. So stopping the objectifying of people or humans or cultures, because in the objectifying you dehumanize them, and then it's hard to get that, you know, we have a equal relationship. So yeah, it's a lot of different things that come up. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Vanessa. Still, we have a couple of more people that want to share. And I know that we are supposed to finish in a few minutes, but we have an extension of 10 more minutes if you're willing to stay, and we can do some closure together.
Yeah.
Because I still want to hear these people, if that's okay by you. 10 more minutes.
Is everyone okay with it? If you can just put in an emoji, like a thumbs up or a thumbs up, just show it, and awesome. So Katrina and then Theodora.
Thank you for the
Have new
chance.
faces, Lisa and Diego, welcome. Don't know which point you joined, but thank you for joining us.
So I've watched this trailer several times, and I've cried several times watching this. I watched it first after the 7th of October 2023, and also related with the presentation that you just did, it brings that feeling of a different type of situation or future is possible because you have this clear example. And I remember one of the things that most touched me and still touches me is that the people who are talking are older or elderly. And I don't want us to have to wait 50 years to get to that point of being able to hug the person that we thought was our enemy. And this feels very strong in this time right now, in which there's so much division, there's so much hate that is so easy to be spread through social media, through WhatsApp chats. And I just to see these people who have been through hell, they're telling their story of shooting other people, bombing other people, and have gotten to a place in which they find peace, it's really, we should all watch this and get out of our ass, get our heads out of our ass. Yeah, just history repeats itself. So why are we still ignorant, basically? And so just this trailer is enough for that in 3 minutes. And I really hope that the film comes out soon.
Thank you. Archana, we had someone after that. You said Theodora?
Theodora?
Yes, I will go quickly through it. I think it was Hyojin that expressed the fact that the younger generations overlook the trauma from war, tend to do that because how they say the world dies and gets reborn with every and each generation. So war is not new, but it can be new for someone. And Romania, for example, had their revolution for independence in 1989. So my parents caught the revolution, but I never did. But there's in my age, my generation, once revolution, like most of us, there's a lot of doomerism in my generation. Like many people cannot even imagine a future where they can have a house or kids or someone they love or any of that. I know people that kill themselves. I almost killed myself once. But that's in the past. And there's this kind of the breaking point where you're like, if I'm not gonna fight for my life, there's nobody coming to save me. And I feel like it's also the young, immature brain that just it's the only thing they knew. So they're gonna try to mimic what they saw previously. But like, if there would be a violent revolution right now, there's no way none of it will have any success. There's killer AI drones that we don't even need 4 years. There's gonna be humans just completely wiped out in a few days. Like there's no, you cannot mess up also. Like there are systems built in place that are built to manage anger and violence. This is all they know. This is all they do. So there's no way we can win that. There's no way we can win that. There has to be a coordinated, organized movement globally, everywhere in the world at the same time, from people, especially the ones that have privileges, that have to seize control and power. That has to happen. Like people in power have to back off. And if they don't, there's also another bottom-up option where we back off, but we have to back off. At least 30% of the entire world's population has to back off from the system so that you can actually damage their financial system. That has to be kind of stopped, I think, because there's a lot of research right now that we can already build the new world. Sorry, I was getting riled up. But yeah, that's the idea.
I just take a breath.
Thank you so
Sometimes we
much,
try to go
Theodore.
to our minds and we start explaining or asking what to do. But I got stuck in the beginning of what you said, and you brought up pain of what happened when people are desperate in your surroundings, onto yourself. And it touched me, and I want to cherish that, and also to emphasize even more the importance of keeping the hope alive and keeping the possibility alive, and to see it as maybe the most political action that we can do. It's not the only one that we need to do. It's not enough, probably, but it's important maybe as everything else, even more.
We have one
we
more
have a few more
person.
people that want to speak, and we still want to
Yes.
some kind of close together. So I'll just invite people to keep things short and ask yourself if you want to say something. It's about what we should do, or about how you feel at the moment regarding the space, because maybe we can put aside the things of what we need to do, and we can just put attention of how we are right now with each other.
Sure. Jared?
Yeah, this is in response to like what we can do, but also it's important, I think, to name here, because Theodora, you said like the youth and young people, the next generation. It has nothing to do with that. Like, yes, sometimes it's because people are young, but as a Black Indigenous person who grew up in so-called United, currently in the middle of a civil war states of America, it's not, it's what Hyojin said, like people who have not seen it, have not felt it, will not act until it's at their door. And that's what you're seeing happening there now. White people are now just waking up to what Black and Indigenous people have been doing and fighting all along and living through and experiencing. And I can't remember who said it earlier, if it was in the video, but someone named how the systems have been created. Liel, it might have been you. And I try to stress this to people constantly. All of it is made up. Capitalism is made up. Racism is made up. It's all made up. And all we have to do, we can't change it. And we have to stop pretending that following the same model is going to be changed. If you want something to change, you've got to change something. And we don't have to destroy them. We just have to ignore them and create our own. And we can do that on our level, little by little, with the people whose lives we touch every single day in community. If everybody just does their best, and your best looks different every day. And you have to accept that too. And we all just do our best and do what we can on our level and have those ripple effects and ignore that, create anti-capitalistic systems of interacting with folks, treat money like energy just the way it is in anything else, and exchange different forces of energy, show up with skill trades, show up with barters of all kinds, create something different and think differently, dream, be outside of the box, move away from what we've been doing over and over again, which still isn't working. That's all.
Thank you. We had another person want to speak?
I didn't see a hand up, but if somebody really
Right.
feels something bubbling inside of them and want to share, we have last few minutes. Oh, Chrissy has her hand up. So Chrissy, would you like to go?
Yes, I want to thank for this last word. It was so connected to what I tried to say earlier. Yeah, because the power of logos, the power of speech, is what we can visualize, and we can create this projection and materialize it. So what Jana said before about belief, it is so common or stereotype may sound, but this is absolutely so essential, because the believers are making the utopias or the dystopias, and everybody lost hope. Oh no, we don't believe anymore in the change. So surrendering in darkness. So if we believe in our collective, in our movement, we're doing it already. We're projecting it, and thanks God, Liel. I mean, such an inspiring session today. I have no words, and very grateful that we all were so participating in that, and we're weaving this common reality that it is scaling as darkness is scaling. We shouldn't be afraid.
Thank you, Chrissy. Just for closing, I want maybe to invite us to close our eyes. Maybe we can take a deep breath together. Maybe another one. From this place of the importance of keeping hope and optimism in our minds and heart, and just to feel, think, wish. And in the future, we feel safe. Feel our surrounding is safe. And everyone around us feels safe. Every person, every being. I want us to hold this place, this possible moment that is waiting for all of us. And it's sooner than we think. I want to thank you for joining me, especially today, especially in these days. And I truly hope that this vision will come to life. And thank you all for your work in making it possible. you.